It is about education on multi-faith and multiculture. The late Venerable Master Chin Kong emphasized on the importance of education. Nothing beats education. And education comes in the form of family education, formal school education, societal education, as well as religious education. We shall now invite Her Excellency, Mrs. Denise Ufue Boigny, former Ambassador of Côte d'Ivoire, as our moderator for the next panel. Joining us on stage is Mr. Riaz Ravat, Deputy Director, St. Philip's Center. Mrs. Anne-Marie Posse, Principal of Mingte International School, Toowoomba, Australia. Dr. Warapat Pucharon, Vice President for Administration and Acting President of World Buddhist University. We would also like to invite Dr. Prapapon Rosiri Ruch, Vice President for International Relations and Communications, Srinagarindwirot University. Let's give a round of applause to our moderator and speakers. I shall now hand the floor to Mrs. Denise. The floor is yours, Mrs. Denise.
Mesdames et messieurs, Excellences, chers invités, le présent panel est destiné à échanger sur le thème de l'éducation au pluralisme religieux et culturel. À cette occasion, permettez-moi de rappeler que le 20 novembre 2023, les 194 États membres de l'UNESCO ont adopté la recommandation sur l'éducation pour la paix, les droits de l'homme et le développement durable lors de la conférence générale. Dans cette recommandation, l'organisation réaffirme que, et je cite, « L'éducation est un droit de l'homme et un processus qui se déroule tout au long de la vie et qu'elle doit viser au plein épanouissement de la personnalité humaine et au renforcement du respect des droits de l'homme et des libertés fondamentales. Elle doit favoriser la compréhension, la tolérance et l'amitié entre toutes les nations et tous les groupes raciaux ou religieux. » Cette recommandation importante réaffirme aussi que l'éducation doit favoriser le respect de la diversité culturelle en tant que caractéristique intrinsèque des sociétés et tendre à promouvoir la compréhension internationale et la citoyenneté mondiale, la tolérance, le pluralisme, le respect des droits de l'homme et des libertés fondamentales et la solidarité entre toutes les nations et tous les peuples. Fin de citation. Cette recommandation de l'UNESCO nous permet de faire deux remarques. La première remarque, c'est que Master Chin Kong a, durant toute sa vie, défendu les mêmes principes relatifs à l'éducation. Il a œuvré pour que ces principes soient promus et mis en application toute sa vie. Nous voyons donc que les idées de l'UNESCO, celles que l'UNESCO promeut et les idées de Master Ching Kung se rejoignent. C'est la première remarque. La deuxième remarque est que dans ce panel, il est question de montrer que les approches interculturelles et interreligieuses peuvent être au cœur des politiques éducatives. Comment elles ont été mises en place selon les contextes socio-culturels et quels sont les principaux défis et enjeux actuels de l'éducation interculturelle et interreligieuse. Pour ce faire, nous allons écouter plusieurs intervenants. Et la première personne à qui je vais donner la parole est M. Riaz, qui est le directeur adjoint du Centre Saint-Philippe, où il dirige les activités de formation, d'éducation et d'engagement communautaire. M. Riaz a démontré aussi une grande capacité à promouvoir la compréhension et les relations interconfessionnelles auprès de divers publics en utilisant des méthodes créatives. M. Riaz a mené à bien toute une série de projets locaux, nationaux et internationaux, notamment avec le ministère de l'Intérieur et le ministère du Logement, des communautés et des collectivités locales. M. Riaz est enfin administrateur du World Institute de Cambridge, un établissement universitaire de premier plan dans le domaine interconfessionnel. M. Riaz, vous avez la parole.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, friends, bonjour and greetings to you all in the land of liberty, égalité and fraternity. I begin by thanking UNESCO colleagues, including Madame Catherine Thioune, for this invitation, and to delegates from around the world for attending this very important conference. I want to pay in particular respect to all the volunteers, the wonderful volunteers who are the peace enablers. They have run an absolutely fantastic conference, and I want to pay tribute to all that they have done. Thank you. Now, this conference would not be possible without the vision and the work of Master Chin Kung. We are all part of his legacy, and we must continue his mission in life. This gathering has enabled us to learn and share from one another. It has been inspiring and motivating in equal measure. By way of introduction, I work for St. Philip's Centre, an interfaith NGO based in the British city of Leicester, which is the most plural municipality in the United Kingdom. St. Philip's Centre, as the name suggests, has a Christian heritage. It was formed through an initiative involving several ecumenical traditions. The design was to extend the hand of friendship and hospitality by embracing people of different religions and beliefs. However, the centre and its volunteer base includes colleagues from 10 different religious or belief traditions. But let's drop the label for a second. They come together first and foremost to share and articulate united human values. In short, the centre would not exist were it not for the contributions made by the depth and breadth of beliefs which underpin our work. There are broadly three types of interfaith NGO. Representative, often made up of clergy or lay, who come together on issues of common concern and often display public acts of solidarity. Reflective, which could be formal or informal groups which explore common and uncommon approaches to life and faith. We engage in some aspects of this. The third type is what I call resourcing. This is what we are. Our modus operandi is to deliver education, training, and community engagement. We resource or support organizations such as schools, police, health bodies, fire services, sporting organizations, or people in local communities. The aim is to engage them confidently and effectively with issues of the day. Our ultimate aim is to promote religious and belief literacy and to encourage people to live well together, even when we disagree. The values of St. Philip's Centre are encounter, trust, understand, and cooperate. The academic Catherine Cornell described interfaith dialogue as a structured and intentional engagement between individuals and communities from different religious traditions aimed at fostering mutual understanding, respect, and cooperation. It is not about converting others or compromising one's beliefs, but rather about creating an environment where diverse religious groups can coexist peacefully and collaboratively. Interfaith dialogue seeks cooperation and constructive interaction between individuals and communities of different religions and beliefs. According to Wilfred Cantwell Smith, the essence of interfaith dialogue lies in its core principles, which include respect, reciprocity, and open-minded engagement. Respect involves acknowledging the dignity and validity of different religious beliefs, even when they contradict one's own theological perspectives. Interfaith dialogue is guided by inclusivity, sincerity, and a commitment to truth-seeking. Inclusivity ensures that all religious traditions, including indigenous and minority faiths, are given a platform. The interfaith world has largely been dominated by the Abrahamic faiths. Sincerity emphasizes that dialogue should be undertaken with honest intentions rather than as a political or strategic tool. Lastly, the commitment to truth-seeking does not mean forcing a singular narrative, but rather exploring shared values and ethical commonalities among different traditions. Interfaith dialogue has become an essential mechanism for fostering mutual understanding and cooperation among religions in today's globalized world. With increasing migration, digital interconnectedness, and political interdependence, diverse religious groups frequently interact, creating both opportunities for collaboration but also risks of potential conflict. As societies become more religiously pluralistic, the need for structured and meaningful dialogue between faith traditions has intensified. Interfaith engagement not only promotes peaceful coexistence, but also serves as a platform for addressing global challenges such as poverty, human rights, and climate change. Despite its significance, interfaith dialogue is often met with resistance due to theological differences, historical tensions, and political manipulation of religious identities. Other commentators have emphasized that conflicts arise more from political and economic interest than from religious disparities. At the Church of England's General Synod in February 2026, the Lord Bishop of Leicester, the Reverend Martin Snow, said, "Interfaith work in our country is in crisis." I would extend that by saying that the crisis crosses many geographical boundaries around the world. Ineffectiveness is a charge often leveled at those who work in the sector. Blindness to some hostility over others, cynicism over motivations, and collective ownership of conflicts. However, this does not mean that we can absolve ourselves of responsibility in arenas where we have positive influence, be they family, friends, neighborhoods, community, or wider. We can rebut all of the above with our actions. Globalization has also facilitated the exchange of religious ideas through digital platforms, academic collaborations, and intergovernmental initiatives. While these developments have enabled greater understanding among religious groups, they have also exposed communities to radical interpretations of faith that can fuel intolerance. The globalized nature of modern societies demands proactive interfaith initiatives that emphasize shared values such as justice, compassion, and human dignity. Despite its unifying potential, religion has been accused of being a source of conflict, with many historical and contemporary conflicts being framed in religious terms. Migration, another key factor of globalization, has transformed religious demographics and interactions in unprecedented ways. The movement of people across borders due to economic opportunities, political instability, and/or environmental changes has resulted in religiously diverse societies. This shift has presented challenges and opportunities for interfaith dialogue, including transnational impact of conflicts. Secularism and religious syncretism, which is the blending of different religious and belief practices, has become prevalent where cultural and religious interactions are frequent. So, how do we respond? Intercultural education must be preparation for life, a metaphorical toolbox of literacy and skills which equips citizens to thrive and prosper. Sometimes we will find common ground, at other times we must learn to agree to disagree. Education must not be solely limited to children and young people. We must prioritize lifelong learning, a 360-degree approach which maximizes reach to all parts of society and to all age groups. If the interfaith or intercultural sector is to be impactful, it must also set the highest standards on safeguarding or the protection of children or vulnerable adults. Even one case of abuse is one too many. This is an area of mutual interest and collaboration across communities. Educational structures must also thrive to be places where difference need not be divisive, where the seeds of meaningful encounter result in meaningful relations and ultimately communal and social cohesion. Interfaith or intercultural education requires high-level leadership and affirmation. I am very proud to say that only a few days ago, and we are marking International Women's Day, of course, that Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales visited my home city of Leicester. During the visit, Her Royal Highness witnessed a Sufi-themed dance, sampled Indian sweets, savouries and fabrics, and concluded the day in a temple by joining worshippers in celebrating a communal Garba dance. This dignified, measured and rooted headship speaks volumes and has the ability to carry people with it. All too often, but with legitimacy, interfaith is often criticized as a cozy club which has compartmentalized religion and belief into a one-size-fits-all mold. Whilst this club has value and purpose, the landscape around the world is changing beneath our feet, with newer expressions and groups emerging. In addition, interfaith may be described as talking over the garden fence, but religious pluralism has resulted in the need to speak within it to different denominations and traditions. All too often, intra-faith is more challenging than interfaith. Another way is to universalize interfaith by promoting friendship over formality, by generating greater fluidity so that interfaith is a gift shared by citizens as well as clergy and academia. Contact theory provides a huge opportunity where those who are outside the interfaith club can participate in a range of organic and/or imaginative and innovative schemes in a variety of locations. Let us create a consortium rather than just a club. I have always maintained that St. Philip's Centre is at its strongest when it meets audiences for the first time, when we are stretching boundaries. For example, interfaith can take place at the school gates, let alone inside the classroom, or on football terraces, as well as at meeting tables. Come Dine Together is an encounter-based initiative modelled on the British television Channel 4 series Come Dine With Me. It is an example of a creative approach we have run. In this scheme, people who have never met before come together and are paired. The aim is to have a reciprocal meal in their homes or in a neutral venue of their choice. Another flagship project we have run is our Religion and Belief Roadshow. In a few minutes, I will show a short film about the roadshow, which involves our team of faith practitioners from 10 different religious and belief traditions, traveling together, eating together, holding a colorful, all-encompassing, sensory-capturing, vibrant and noisy festival in a school. We have information stalls for dialogue, clothing, food, artifacts, music, arts and crafts, all under one roof. In a single day, nearly 250 children can be engaged. If I can ask colleagues to show the video, please. Thank you.
Well, next this evening, can a simple idea that all started with speed dating heal divided towns and cities. School children across the East Midlands, they're all getting a brief introduction to 10 different beliefs and religions. Organisers hope that it can challenge tensions fuelled from the streets of Leicester to conflict in the Middle East. Our social affairs correspondent, Jeremy Ball, reports.
An RE lesson with a difference at Leicester's St John the Baptist Primary School.
Time to change.
When the bell rings, you move rounds to sample a different faith.
I'm dressing up in sorry?
This is like a Jewish hat that they would wear to the synagogue.
Am I wearing something that the choir would wear?
It feels really nice and comfortable, and it's got these like really nice things here.
It's fun with a serious message. The Religion and Belief Roadshows run by Leicester's St Philip's Multi-Faith Centre.
The similarities outweigh the differences. All of these faiths have a basic line of love, compassion, understanding.
In all elements.
They've probably never met a pagan before today. And it's not about telling people to agree with stuff. You know, they're very free to disagree and say, oh, I see the world differently from you. But it's about having that respect.
All the major world religions are here, along with some you might not have heard of. Nicole's been invited too. She's a humanist.
Humanism is a non-religious worldview or belief, so it's important that the students can understand that there are non-religious worldviews as well as religious ones, and more importantly, that we can get along with everybody.
But while more people question religion these days, the last census still recorded well over 2 million Christians across the East Midlands. That's 85% of people who followed any faith. Here in Leicester, there's a much more even split. There are now almost as many Muslims as Christians in this city. The number of Hindus isn't far behind, so making sure that everyone can live together and understand each other is critical. And here's a reason why. It's almost 2 years since violence in Leicester took so many by surprise. Groups of mainly Hindu and Muslim young men facing off as many on both sides felt their community was being targeted.
I see this as a small building block in building peaceful relations, because if you have that from a young age, you are creating the resiliency for the future so that we don't see some of the difficulties that we saw a couple of years ago. This is vital.
And for Lawrence, being here is so vital because of international tensions. He's part of Leicester's small Jewish community.
We have superb relationships with all of the religions around here. You can't ignore the fact of what's going on in the Middle East, but we try not to allow that to impact on the friendships.
Talk to your friends and your colleagues and family.
I like meeting new people and learning about new faiths.
I enjoyed hearing about the Baha'i faith because I'd never heard of that before, and it was really interesting.
I've really enjoyed learning about how different they are sometimes, but also how similar they can be.
Over the last year, around 1,700 children have been to these road shows across the East Midlands. It won't change the world, but they hope it can make a real difference. Jeremy Ball, BBC East Midlands Today, Leicester.
So to conclude, thank you. I hope that this video provides some encouragement that intercultural education need not be a threat if it is inclusive of all. It also means that we are all potential positive influencers. Each of us have family, friends, relatives, work colleagues, neighbours, and others with whom we connect. The interfaith market must recalibrate itself if it is to take on the challenges of now and the future. We all have our part to play in securing the peaceful coexistence dividend. Merci.
Merci, Monsieur Riaz. Vous nous avez montré les conditions d'un bon dialogue interreligieux au sein des établissements et vous nous avez également partagé des expériences très intéressantes auprès de jeunes et dans les écoles. Merci pour votre intervention. Je vais maintenant donner la parole à Madame Anne-Marie Possé, qui est une responsable pédagogique respectée, basée à Toowoomba, en Australie. Elle possède une vaste expérience dans la direction d'établissements scolaires dans divers contextes éducatifs. Elle occupe actuellement le poste de directrice de la Mendy International School de Toowoomba, où elle dirige une communauté d'apprentissage dynamique axée sur l'excellence académique, les perspectives mondiales et une éducation fondée sur des valeurs solides. Avant d'occuper ce poste, Mme Possé était directrice de Saint-Ursula College, un établissement catholique secondaire réputé. Au cours de son mandat, elle a fait preuve d'un leadership stratégique qui a permis d'améliorer les résultats scolaires, de favoriser le bien-être des élèves et de renforcer la mission confessionnelle et l'engagement communautaire de l'école. En tout cas, merci, Madame, de venir nous parler justement de vos expériences. Et je vous donne la parole.
Thank you. Good morning and greetings from Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia. I am honoured to be asked to speak today about my school, Mingde International School. Master Chin Kung stated, cultivating virtuous people is the key to inheriting sinology, restoring traditional culture and bringing peace to the world. Such cultivation should start with children. The moral education for children is the foundation to establish children's behaviour, family, happiness and successful career. The planned learning at Mingde International School, Toowoomba, is much more than a syllabus. Foundational to the education we offer at the school is the focus placed on the moral development of individuals, emphasising personal ethics, social responsibility, and the teachings of Buddha. The focus on teaching is based on the core values of sinology and the teachings of Buddha, and involve learning how to be a good person and how to interact harmoniously with others. At the heart of establishing a peaceful and harmonious society is love and respect for all. Confucian thought begins with love within the family, respect and care for parents, siblings, and extends that love to society and eventually to all humanity. A peaceful and harmonious family is seen as the foundation of a stable society. Respect for teachers. In school, respecting teachers is foundational. It is through the guidance of teachers that students learn not only academic skills, but also the virtues and moral behaviours needed in life. Our children are reminded to be mindful and trustworthy in our daily lives, and to build strong relationships with and learn from kind and virtuous people. And after establishing a foundation in moral conduct, students pursue the development of academic and arts that contribute to personal and social development. A good person is made, not born. Just as students learn mathematics and languages, opportunities are also offered at Mingde to learn about such values as respect, empathy, equality, solidarity, and critical thinking. Without these and other ethical principles that define us as human beings, it will be difficult to build a better world. The cultivation of ethical values help to guide ethical and moral behaviours by incorporating into their daily learning a focus on developing, practising and enacting the core values of sinology and the teachings of the Buddha. These values are woven into every decision we make and apply to all aspects of our curriculum from prep to the secondary years. Apologies. We aim to create a holistic and balanced approach to learning to equip our students with the tools to navigate life's challenges and with resilience and compassion. The Mingde International School strives to create a nurturing and inclusive environment where each student feels valued, respected and supported in their journey of growth and learning. We firmly believe in the power of education to shape young minds, foster compassion and cultivate wisdom. Our dedicated team of educators is committed to guiding our students towards becoming well-rounded individuals who can positively contribute to society. In our opening school ceremony that takes place in the first few weeks of our new school year, one of our teachers, Samantha Fisher, shared on behalf of all our staff with our venerables, parents, students and community members the following practical outline to the work we do at Mingde International School. She shared, as teachers, we often ask ourselves an important question. What is the true purpose of education? Here, inspired by the teachings of Master Ching Kung, the answer is very clear. Education is not first about academic success, it is about forming character, cultivating virtue, and awakening gratitude. At the heart of our school is filial piety and respect. We teach our children that before they learn how to achieve, they must learn how to be human. When a child learns to respect their parents, teachers, and elders, they naturally develop humility, responsibility, and kindness. This respect becomes the foundation for all future learning and for harmony in society. In the first 6 years of a child's education, we place great importance on helping them become gentle, patient, prudent, and kind. These qualities may seem simple, but they are deeply transformative. In the classroom, we see a gentle child learns more successfully and peacefully, how a patient child resolves conflict more wisely, and how a grateful child brings warmth to others. These virtues are not taught through words alone, but through daily example and practice and consistency by teachers and parents working together. Our school also carries a greater mission, reconciliation and peace. Master Ching Kung taught that the root cause of suffering, greed, anger, and ignorance can only be resolved through education. When we teach children to reflect on their actions, to calm their minds, and to think of others before themselves, we are planting seeds of peace. These children do not just benefit their families, they benefit society and the world. An important part of this work is how you have many opportunities for reflection included in our students' learning every day. Confucius taught us that learning is not just about listening or doing. He said that reflection is the key to learning. This means we need to think about what we do, what we say, and how we treat others. Reflections means asking yourself gentle questions like, what did I do well today? Was I kind to others? Did I listen carefully? What can I do better tomorrow? Reflection helps our students learn from their mistakes. Instead of feeling upset or angry, teachers model through their actions and interactions that when we think calmly about what happened, we can choose a better action next time. Confucius taught that when we reflect, often we become wiser. Our goal is to equip our students with the skills to engage in respectful dialogue, listen actively, and resolve differences peacefully. Just as we teach children to eat well and stay fit to keep their bodies healthy, teaching them how to proactively care for their mind is equally important and promotes social and emotional learning. At Mingde International School, we embed mindfulness practices into our daily teaching and learning through ancient Chinese reading, home and learn and practice, chanting, meditation, and yoga. Venerable Master Ching Kung taught that true education begins in the family. Children learn virtue not from instruction alone, but from daily example. Partnering with families to complete learn and practice activities each week and ancient reading tasks, the school models to our students the value we place on the importance of the relationship between our staff and parent carers, school and home. When teachers partner their ability to inspire thought and creativity with the foundational support parents provide, students are better prepared to have a positive school experience. The Venerable Master championed traditional Chinese learning. as vital for restoring moral values, fostering compassion, and achieving world peace. He believed these ancestral teachings, focusing on filial piety, ethics, and virtue, could resolve modern social crisis and spiritual pollution. Students at our school experience life through the lens of traditional Chinese teachings, as well as an Australian curriculum that represents what the Australian community values as knowledge, understanding, and skills that young people should attain. Our students live in a country that has one of the most multicultural and is one of the most multicultural and diverse countries globally, with over half, 51.5%, of its residents either born overseas or have a parent who is born overseas. Education is a central pillar in maintaining respect for diversity and human rights. People from different cultures, languages, and faiths need to feel understood and respected if we desire our cultural diversity to sustainably produce social cohesion and a sense of belonging. At Mingde International School, we aim to provide opportunities for our staff and our students to engage with different faiths, cultures, and perspectives, to encourage our students to broaden their horizons, challenge stereotypes, and develop a deeper appreciation for the world's diverse traditions. As you can see, as myself, principal of Mingde International School, our staff come from diverse cultures and faiths. Teachers take very seriously their role as role models to students in how they come together through the school's philosophy and work harmoniously to bring about the master's vision to reality, in teaching the value of respect for all teachers. We are also teaching respect for all, regardless of differences. Locally, the school has developed links to our local primary school, participating in joint community choir for an annual day of remembrance in Australia that is called Anzac Day. Sporting activities have taken place, and as the relationship further develops between the two schools, future plans are underway to celebrate important traditions in both schools. For Westbrook, their annual walk that goes past the entrance of our school, celebrating their long history of education that started in 1899. Mingde has only been in practice since July 2021. For Mingde, we are looking forward to sharing our traditions and in the future year associated with Chinese New Year. As part of the community of Toowoomba, we have participated in the annual Carnival of Flowers, highlighting the school's Chinese culture as well as the significant artistic abilities of staff and students through our dragon boat float. Linking to our faith and traditions, Mingde has discovered that local Catholic high schools are seeking opportunities to visit our Westbrook site, to see our various statues and sutra wall, and hear from Pure Land staff to assist with their senior religious education studies on world religions focusing on Buddhism. One of the joys we experience through such opportunities to share with others is how quickly our students begin interacting with other students or actively engage with the activity they are participating in. They proudly start talking about their school and make sure that everyone knows how to say the name of our school. Unfortunately, around Toowoomba, we are sometimes known as Mingde rather than Mingde. But I am very happy that our children are actually concerned about the name of their school, showing that connection that we have built up since 2021. In summary, how do our students learn the ability to build harmonious relationships? By integrating diverse voices and perspectives into everyday experiences in a safe and respectful way means children begin learning how to relate to others, understand global narratives, and develop inclusive mindsets from the early stages of life. Of course, this is not an easy task, nor one that can be completed in our short 5-year period that we have been we've been functioning as a school. But we have advantage as a small school, and that is that it is student-centred, valued-focused approach to teaching and learning, provides for an education that is focused on the whole individual. Mingde teachers begin by getting to know each student as a person and as a learner, and helping them to discover what works best for them. Finally, a commitment from the community of Mingde International School to provide education and care to students, to assist them develop into high-achieving, supported students, positively connected to each other and to the communities in which they live and which they will serve. And if you want to have a look at the life at Mingde in the foyer, there are a couple of screens that show a video that we, our students and teachers proudly put together before I left to come to the conference. I thank you very much for your attention. I thank you very much, and I'm honoured that I was able to speak about my school. Thank you.
L'expérience de l'école à Toowoomba est extraordinaire et plusieurs ambassadeurs ici présents ont pu, grâce à Master Chin Kung, visiter cette école. Et je pense que les élèves qui sortiront de cette école seront des citoyens parfaits. Ils répondront aux critères établis par l'UNESCO, mais aussi ils répondront à toutes les valeurs que Master Chin Kung a diffusées toute sa vie. Vraiment, toutes mes félicitations, et vous avez une école absolument merveilleuse. Merci, madame. Nous allons passer maintenant au troisième intervenant, qui est monsieur Worofat Pouchaoren. Il est président de l'Université bouddhiste mondiale. Fort de plus de 20 ans d'expérience dans des systèmes de qualité, le développement organisationnel et le conseil en leadership, le docteur Worofat a travaillé avec des organisations thaïlandaises et internationales de premier plan. Il est largement reconnu pour avoir su intégrer la sagesse bouddhiste à la gestion et au leadership moderne, apportant une perspective réfléchie et transformatrice à l'éducation et au développement institutionnel. Monsieur Worofat, vous avez donc la parole.
Namo Amito Pho. Thank you, Master Chin Kung. Sawadee krap. Excellency, distinguished guests, and dear friends. In a world where we can Google every fact in seconds, why is it that we still struggle to understand each other's hearts? We are more connected by technology than ever before, yet we feel more divided by ideology, faith, and cultures. Today, I don't come to you just as a scholar, but as a representative of a culture that has practiced multicultural education, not in textbook, but in daily life for centuries. Let me go back this. Okay. Long before the term multiculturalism was coined, my home Thailand, or the ancient kingdom of Ayutthaya, was already a global safety hub. Over 400 years ago, Ayutthaya was home to Japanese, Portuguese, Chinese, and Persian communities living side by side. Our kings didn't just tolerate them, they welcomed them. We have a long DNA for opening our doors and hearts to the others. This is the foundation of what I call internal hospitality. The ability to provide a safe space within our minds before we provide it in our lands. Let's look at a modern, perhaps surprising examples. You might have seen viral clips of 7-Eleven Thailand. Why do millions of tourists love it? Is it just the food? No. In Thailand, 7-Eleven has become a safety landmark. It is cool, bright, and welcoming. But here is the most profound lesson. Even the stray dogs in Thailand know that the front of a 7-Eleven is a safe space. Why? Because they are not chased away. They are accepted. If a stray dog, without understanding a single word of our language, can feel the metta or loving kindness of a space, then we have succeeded in creating a culture of inclusion. In 7-Eleven in Thailand is a metaphor for what education should be, a place that is accessible, consistent, and provides psychological safety for every soul that walks through the door, regardless of their background. At the World Buddhist University, WBU, we bridge this ancient wisdom with modern psychology through a framework called Sankha Wattu 4. Here. The 4 pillars of social harmony. Dana, giving, not just money, but giving space and forgiveness. Piya Vacha, kind speech, using dialogue to connect, not debate to defeat. Atta Jariya, helpful actions. Education must be useful to society, solving real human problems. Samanatatta, equality, consistency, treating every human being with the same level of respect, whether they are a CEO, a student, or a stranger. This is not just religion, this is relational intelligence. It is the operating system for a harmonious, multi-faith society. This leads to my core message today. The World Buddhist Universities aims to be a safety hub of all faiths. We do not seek to convert, we seek to connect. Like the 7-Eleven metaphor, WBU is a platform where people from different cultures can find intelligence, mindfulness, and spiritual safety. We use Buddhist wisdom as a tool, not as a barrier, to facilitate deep listening and mutual growth. Education or multi-faith must move from teaching about each other to learning with each other. As I conclude, I leave you with one thought. If we can create a safe space for a sleeping dog in the middle of a busy city, surely we can create a safe space for our fellow human beings in the middle of this divided world. Peace in the world starts with peace in the heart, and that peace begins with a smile of acceptance. Thank you very much. Amitabha.
En tout cas, merci monsieur, président de l'Université bouddhiste mondiale. Vous êtes ici dans la maison où le travail au niveau des esprits est très important l'acte constitutif de l'UNESCO dit bien que c'est dans l'esprit des hommes qu'il faut élever les défenses de la paix. Et vous venez de nous montrer que dans votre université, vous avez si bien compris ce principe que vous l'appliquez à des étudiants. En tout cas, merci de nous avoir fait partager votre expérience. Merci. Nous allons passer maintenant à une autre expérience, à celle de Madame Prapaporn, n'est-ce pas, qui est professeure adjointe et qui occupe le poste de vice-présidente des relations internationales et de la communication dans une université, et elle est membre du corps enseignant de la faculté des sciences sociales. Les travaux du docteur Prapaporn font le lien entre la recherche juridique, la recherche politique et le développement professionnel. Ces recherches portent sur la réforme juridique, la justice sociale et le développement des compétences relationnelles pour les professionnels du droit. Elle est également l'animatrice primée de l'émission Legal News Update sur MTCOC Radio et est largement reconnue pour promouvoir une communication empathique et un leadership éthique au sein de la profession juridique. Madame, vous avez la parole et merci.
Merci, Excellency. Bonjour, good morning, Tajihao, and Sawadee Ka. Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, and dear friends, at first, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Master Chin Kung and all the hosts and everyone who contribute to make this meaningful conference happen. Allow me to begin with a personal reflection. My academic background is in law. For many years, I was trained to think about justice through legal principles, rights, duties, accountability, and institutional structures. Law teaches us how society organizes fairness. Human rights law reminds us that dignity belongs equally to every human being. But as my professional journey evolved into international relations and communications, something profound changed in the way I understand peace. I began to realize that while law provides frameworks for justice, peace ultimately depends on human connection. Laws can prevent harm. Policies can regulate behavior. But empathy is what allows people to truly live together. Working in an international relations has allowed me to witness moments that no legal textbook could fully explain. I have seen students from different cultures hesitate to speak at first, unsure of how they would be received. I have watched conversations slowly open through shared experiences, curiosity, and kindness. And I have learned that communication is not simply the exchange of information. Communication is an act of understanding. In this role, I have become more aware that leadership today requires not only expertise, but empathy, not only knowledge, but compassion. International relations at its best is not diplomacy between institutions. It is dialogue between human beings. And now, we live in a world shaped by constant flows of information. Information connects us instantly across borders. Yet, it can also deepen misunderstanding. As someone trained in law, I deeply value freedom of expression and access to information as fundamental human rights. Yet, I have also come to see that information without reflection can divide, and communication without compassion can harm. Higher education, therefore, faces a new responsibility. Universities must educate students not only to analyze information, but to engage with it mindfully. Students must learn to think critically, to communicate ethically, and to recognize the humanity behind every perspective. Peace in the information age requires both intellectual rigor and emotional intelligence. At Sinakarin Virod University, or SWU, in Bangkok, Thailand, our institutional vision is to become a learning university for society. We express this vision through 3 values reflected in our name, SWU. So S stands for social responsibility. Education must serve social and promote justice, inclusion, and human dignity. W, work smart. We encourage innovation and thoughtful problem solving, combining knowledge with wisdom and creativity with ethical behavior. So U, unity. Unity does not mean uniformity. Unity means learning to live together across differences while respecting identities, culture, and of course, human rights. So my journey from law to international relations had taught me that peace building today requires both structure and sensitivity. Law gives us principles. International collaboration gives us relationships. Communication gives us understanding. And compassion gives us those principles of life. University must become spaces where people feel safe to learn, to question, and to encounter difference without fear. In such spaces, diversity becomes not a challenge to manage, but a resource for collective growth. Higher education institutions can serve as one of humanity's most important infrastructures for peace, not only producing professionals, but nurturing responsible global citizens, not only transmitting information, but cultivating awareness, not only defending rights, but strengthening empathy. Because peace is not sustained only by agreements between nations. Peace is sustained by people who know how to listen, respect, and care for one another. Allow me to end with a reflection that continues to guide my work. My legal training taught me how to argue. My work in international relations had taught me how to listen. And through communication, I have learned that understanding another person is often the step forward and toward peace. At Sinakarin Virod University, or SWU, we continue learning with society, working wisely together, and building unity across cultures, because peace is not only something we negotiate. Peace is something we practice every day in how we think, how we speak, and how we relate to one another. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Merci Madame pour votre intervention. Nous sommes très heureux de vous entendre parce que hier nous avons parlé de l'intelligence artificielle et vous venez aujourd'hui d'introduire le rôle de l'empathie et de l'humanisme dans les domaines juridiques, dans les relations internationales, dans la communication. Et l'intelligence artificielle prétend résoudre tous les problèmes, alors que vous soulevez la dimension humaine, n'est-ce pas, de toutes ces sciences. Et vraiment, nous sommes très heureux que vous preniez en compte la valeur de l'homme, en fait, qui est très importante dans tout, dans le droit, dans les relations internationales, dans la communication. Ce ne sont pas seulement des règles techniques, mais des valeurs humaines qu'il faut défendre en éducation. Merci. Je donne maintenant la parole au professeur Myung-Cheng Zhu, qui est une éminente chercheure, universitaire et leader international basée à Paris en France. Elle occupe les fonctions de vice-présidente de la Fédération mondiale des sociétés de médecine chinoise, secrétaire générale de son comité consultatif d'experts seniors, de présidente de l'Union des experts en médecine chinoise en Europe. Forte de plusieurs décennies d'expérience dans la promotion de la médecine traditionnelle chinoise et la collaboration universitaire interculturelle, le professeur Zhu a joué un rôle central dans le renforcement du dialogue entre les traditions médicales orientales et occidentales. Son leadership jette des ponts entre les continents, les disciplines et les perspectives culturelles, favorisant l'échange de connaissances, la compréhension mutuelle entre diverses communautés. Madame, je vous donne la parole. Merci.
这个环节呢，不是我一个人完成的，还有一位古琴演奏家，这个桂志伟 Monsieur Simon Debier 啊，我讲一部分，然后由他来演奏古琴《高山流水》，我们体验一下这个中国文化天人相应的这样一种氛围。今天我要讲的题目是这个土地的概念在中国文化和中国医学里是怎么描述的啊？我们说这个土地呢，它是万物的母亲，和平的根基，做人的模板，行事的规矩，这是非常重要的。所以我第一页出来的是法文，但是后来我出来中文，因为在场的很多是中文的朋友们。那么我准备分3个部分来讲，啊，第一个部分，土，人之所来，人之所去 ，la terre d'où vient l'homme où va l'homme。第2个部分，土的特性啊 ，attribut de la terre dans la culture et la médecine chinoise。第3个部分，我要专门讲一下中医的土是什么意思 ，la terre en médecine traditionnelle chinoise。好，我们讲第1个部分，土是人之所来，人之所去。啊，在中国的创世神话里，人是女娲用土仿照她自己的模样捏制出来的。这是为什么中国人的皮肤是中国土的颜色？为什么我们是黄色的皮肤？因为造我们的女娲就是用中国的土造出来的。这就是女娲造人啊，我们是从土来的。第2个很重要的概念就是入土为安，我们从土来，还要回到土去啊。这里的是一个土地神庙啊，是个土地神庙。在商代，土不仅是一个自然的概念，更重要的是祭祀的对象啊。因此，这个土，它是指的土神，也是指的社神，叫做土地神。那么在商代的时候，会定期向社神来祭祀，祈求风调雨顺、五谷丰登。那么这种对土地的崇拜和热爱，体现了农业文明民以食为天的朴素的概念。每一个中国人都有一个非常特殊的概念：落叶归根，入土为安。这是一种对大地的崇拜和敬仰。人死了以后迈入土中，死者方得安息，生者方觉心哀。 所以土地公公是最清净民生的保护神，他保佑乡里的安宁和平静，掌管乡里死者的户籍。人死了以后，第一个就是要到土地神那里去报到。我们离乡日久回家，第一个我们也是要到土地庙去敬神的。这就是土地庙。那么土有一些什么特性呢？我想从3个方面来谈一下特性。第一个，土源价强；第2个，厚德载物；第3个，直中守和。我们先来看第一个，土源价强。我们看这个土字，有甲骨文、经文和楷书的。甲骨文的土字下边的一横就是大地，上面是一个土块它就表示在地面上耸立了一个土块。到了经文里，就具象地认为从地下生出来的东西的这种动态，这是经文里的。所以《说文解字》就说土，为什么念土？就是因为它能够吐土，从土里边吐出万物来。所以古文就讲万物土中生，都是从土里生出来的。到了楷书第3个这个土字上面的十字，这就是一个最大的一个数字。它强调土在万物的生成和发生里的根基的作用。那么我们讲土源价强，价强是指植物种植和收获谷物的农事活动，引申为凡是具备生化承载属性的事物都是处于土，所以讲是土源价强。好，它的第3个特点是厚德载物。我们看这里是8经卦的土卦，叫做坤那么这个坤是非常重要的，它是它的特点就是很深沉、很平稳它又能够承载、富裕和养育所有在土地上的生物，所以它的德行是非常厚的那么下边这个呢，是在60经卦里头的坤，它谈到呢，就是至哉坤元，万物之生，乃顺承天，坤厚载物，德和无疆。就说它有一个非常厚重、深厚，可以承载万物的这样一种德性这是非常重要的。因为如果没有土的承载，万物就不复存在了。那么我们下边来看，就是土的这么一个重要的特性，并不是我们中国人任意想象出来的它是从中国古天文里衍生出来的在中国文化的创始人尧帝公元前2377到公元前2259年间呢，他派出了羲和、羲叔、和仲、和叔这4个天官，都是以和来命名，就是和平的和来命名的。他们到东南西北4个方向观察和测定太阳升起降落在地面的投影，以此来确定钟的地理位置，在那里建立国都。也根据他们的观察和定钟的这个原则，来制定了天历、日历，来指导人事，包括生产、商旅、政治、经济、军事等等，这些就构成了中国文化的内核。最核心的就是天地定位、 平衡在中，人事从之。我们来看在《中庸》里头就非常强调这一点就说至中和，天地未焉，万物欲焉。如果没有大地的中这样一个承载的作用，这样一个平衡和平的作用，万物是不复存在的。我们从这一点再来看中国字的国字中国字的国字在外是一个方块，天圆地方，这就是地方的概念。在里边首先有一个王，王呢是天地人连成一线，它能成王，然后加了一点，这就是域，就是它的权力和它的重要性，合起来就构成了国家的国。所以国家的国本身就要天地人合而为一，来把持这个中和和稳定，这是国家的概念。我们再来看这个天人相应手中的这样一个概念，具象于北京城的中轴线。这是北京的中轴线大家都很清楚，是吧？但是更重要的是体现在紫禁城的中轴线。在紫禁城的中轴线上有午门，为什么叫午门？就是太阳正中以太阳为正中。接着就有太和殿、太和门、太和殿、中和殿、保和殿，都是以和来为名，因为它是曲中，曲中才有和，曲中才有平。所以这些都在强调中和在从天时到人事的重要性，在中国文化里头，这是一个精髓。那我们再看这样一种精神和文化的内核，就反映到中国人对人的理解。我们到底要怎么样来做人呢？这次提得非常的清楚，要安土、仁爱、乐天、爱生。所以《礼记》就提出来，不能安土，不能乐天，不能成其身易经》里头也谈得非常的好就是这个《易经》呢，大家都很清楚了，是吧？是livre的 mutation他就提出来了一个非常重要的原则：安土敦乎仁，故能爱。我们的仁爱是从哪里来？是从土的特性发生出来的，是中国文化非常重要的一个根脉。那么总而言之，中国文化，中国和中国人所以冠以中来命名，来源于对土地、对天的敬畏崇拜和对中和孜孜不倦的追求。这些都是我们今天在当环境保护、生态平衡、人类命运、世界和平等等世纪重任的时候最值得借鉴和遵守的原则。所以为什么我非常积极地参加这个论坛？因为他讲了我们当代就是要讲中和平定。那么这一点在中国医学里的反应也是非常突出的，因为道家和佛家都讲一条中脉或者是中柱，那么这条中脉它就把天地人连贯在一起。如果我们中脉不正，尤其是中脉的核心丹田是虚的，那我们就脱离了土地，我们就脱离了天人相应这样一个重要的原则。第三部分我想谈一下 土在中国文化里是如何表述的。首先呢，在我们的杜甫里头，就是土之所在，福中土之所在。我们来看在甲骨文的土，它就是一个妇女的怀孕，她的腹部是隆起的。后来觉得这个表述还不清楚，又在腹中加了一个点，就是说是胎儿。所以我们讲人是从哪里来的？从肚子里头出来，这个肚子就是土。女娲造人用了土，今天我们还是从肚子这个土里头生出来的，我们不能离开土的这是第一点。从我生字，身体的生字，我们看到，另外呢，一个非常重要的一个概念，就是土，这个脾就是土，这个脾的功能就是思，就是它是会想的，它上面就是一个田，下边就是一个心。那么现在我们讲，人有2个脑，一个浮脑，一个颅脑。这个浮脑它也是会思想的，它是和颅脑配在一起。也就是说，我们一个人的思想、情志、意念等等，也要合乎土这种不偏不倚、居中而安的特点，才能够寻求到我们的和平。所以这张图讲得很清楚了，就是脾主思，它和心是关联在一起，和我们的感情是完全连接在一起的。那么下边我就想具体的谈一点，就是如何平和脾土的方法。首先呢，是一个呼吸法，因为我们人活一口气，这个气是怎么来的，怎么去的，它的根在哪里，就用这样一个方法。因为今天时间有限，我就不能再具体的展开了就是要把双手抚在我们的这个神阙，就是肚脐。所以肚脐呢，我们有生以来离开母体，首先就要把肚脐截断，而这个地方就叫做神阙。神阙是什么意思？在宫殿里头，阙就是大门，就是这是我们神思感情的大门。从这个时候开始，我们个人独立的思想感情才开始。所以我们手抚神阙来进行轻柔细长的呼吸，让我们回归到我们自我，不要在外面去想三想四，跟着乱七八糟的事情跑。我们有自己的中土，我们有自己的心。所以这个呼吸虽然简单，但是非常的重要，是我们安定心神的一个办法那么下边我还想向大家介绍一下就是在手抹神阙的时候，我们做一个旋抹。那么这个对于使我们的神思安定和滋养我们的脾土也是非常重要的。为了讲清楚这个土的重要性，我还想向大家展示一条土线，它的中心就是神阙，就是肚脐，然后它的两盘是脾经上的天枢穴，下边是胃经上的大横穴。大家知道脾是土，胃是土，它们就围绕着神阙展开，这样就构成了一条土线。这条土线的重要性是什么？上为天，下为地，中为人。我们人吸纳营养，有形的无形的，都要从这条线的修养开始那么我们具体再谈一点简单的方法那么第二个呢，就是我们有一个平推土线，从两侧向土线中间来推，它的作用就是增强我们的新陈代谢，也是安定我们中土平安和心神安定的一个重要的自我按摩的方法。另外呢，还有我们这个是胃经上有一个重要的土穴， 胃本身是土经，土经上的土穴就是很重要的，就是足三里啊，它是不安的啦带和续合了脉尖的啦带和。我们在养土滋养脾土的时候，这是非常重要的。我们可以用旋磨或者是按压的方法啊。另外有一个很重要的穴位呢，是太白啊，这个是脾经，脾经呢也是土经，脾经上的土穴就可以进行按摩。因为今天的时间非常有限，我只能简单的大家介绍一下中国文化和中国医学里土的概念，核心就是中和、稳定、平和它是有大德的，因为它有德有仁，它才能够来平定天下。好，谢谢大家。
Merci, professeur. Nous allons avoir une performance, je crois, de la musique. Donc, monsieur, je vous laisse donc s'exprimer.
Merci, madame. Mesdames et messieurs, en vos grades et titres, bonjour à tous. C'est un grand plaisir pour moi que de pouvoir participer à cette conférence pour laquelle je remercie Dr Zhu, évidemment, pour son invitation. C'est aussi avec une émotion particulière que j'ai l'honneur d'insérer le guqin, cette sitar, cet heptacorde chinois, dans cette célébration de la paix dans le monde et de la journée de la femme, qui plus est dans cette vénérable institution de l'UNESCO, grâce à laquelle le guqin et sa musique ont connu un essor considérable depuis leur proclamation en 2003 sur la liste représentative du patrimoine culturel immatériel de l'humanité. Si on peut passer à la diapositive suivante. Alors, quel lien peut-on tisser entre... Quel lien peut-on tisser? Alors, si if someone can help me... Going to the next slide, please. Backstage, maybe. Donc, quel lien peut-on tisser entre la Terre, notamment ici, la médecine chinoise, avec le guqin? Alors, par rapport à l'harmonie du triptyque dont parlait Dr Zhu, entre le ciel, la Terre et l'homme, Tian Ti Zhen He Yi, il se trouve que le guqin présente une posture de jeu en étroit alignement avec les 3 champs de cinabre, Tantien, centrés sur l'axe central, ce Zhongmai dont parlait Dr Zhu. On peut observer un alignement parallèle de la planche inférieure de la cithare qui symbolise la terre, avec la ligne de la terre précisément, ce Pitu dont parlait Dr Zhu. C'est elle qui supporte toute l'assise de l'interprète. On peut également observer un alignement de la posture au niveau du champ de cinabre médian, Zhongdantien, qui correspond au barycentre des mouvements relâchés des 2 bras au-dessus de la planche supérieure qui représente le ciel et donc par-delà le firmament. Elle est représentée avec la ligne supérieure alignée au niveau du palais écarlate, Tiankong. Enfin, borné par ces 2 champs de cinabre mentionnés, celui de la cour jaune, Huangting, qui correspond au barycentre cette fois-ci du poids des bras qui s'enfonce dans le bois de la table d'harmonie, Zhumu Sanfeng, qui représente ainsi le monde des hommes. Cette symbolique instrumentale de représentation de la genèse du cosmos peut ensuite être complétée par d'autres éléments. Pour des raisons de temps, je n'en citerai que 2. D'abord, la temporalité de l'héliocentrisme, c'est-à-dire la longueur de la révolution calendaire, qui correspond à 1 année, et qui correspond précisément à 3 pieds 6 pouces et 5 dixièmes, la longueur de l'instrument. Et enfin, la théorie des 5 agents, métal, bois, eau, feu, terre, qui s'articule avec la symbolique du centre de l'axis mundi, le Shijie-zhou, qui correspond ici respectivement aux 5 notes du pentatonique, additionnées aux 2 cordes restantes à l'octave, soit le total de 7 cordes. Pour illustrer cet aperçu entre terre et guqin, entre résonance intérieure avec le monde, j'interpréterai un extrait de l'air Haute montagne et vives eaux, Gaoshan Liu Shui, articulé autour de la notion de zhiyin, celui qui connaît les sons, qui comprend notre résonance intérieure et donc par extension devenant notre ami intime. Chef-d'œuvre représentatif du répertoire musical et message universel de paix, c'est cet air qui a été par exemple gravé dans le disque d'or de la sonde spatiale Voyager lancée en 1977, ce Lü Xingzhe Fei Chuan de Jing Chang Pian, ou encore plus récemment qui a été interprété par une virtuose, une femme, Li Pengpeng, devant les présidents chinois et français en 2023 à Canton, dans l'espoir d'établir une relation privilégiée d'amitié entre les 2 hommes. L'histoire nous dira si le message a été compris ou s'il a été lost in translation, mais quoi qu'il en soit, le geste de la main tendue était là. Je vous remercie.
Merci, Madame, de nous faire partager cette musique qui est si belle, si relaxante. Très, très, très belle musique, en tout cas. Merci, merci. Mesdames et messieurs, nous avons fait un gros travail aujourd'hui au niveau des esprits, et surtout du lien entre la terre et l'homme. La terre et l'homme. Tout ce qui se passe au niveau de l'homme est en lien avec la terre, en lien avec son environnement. Et nous l'avons beaucoup oublié dans notre vie sur Terre. Et justement, l'UNESCO est en train de faire un gros travail, n'est-ce pas, de réappropriation de cette terre, de la prise en compte de la terre dans tout ce que l'homme fait. D'où les notions de l'importance de l'environnement, de l'écologie, etc. Très important, l'équilibre entre le ciel, la terre et l'homme, et la santé de l'homme. Merci de nous avoir fait partager tout ceci. Merci aux uns et aux autres. Mais je vais quand même, je ne vais pas rester sur ma faim. C'est vrai que le temps est compté, mais je vais quand même permettre à l'assistance de poser au moins une question. Parce que toutes ces éminentes personnalités nous ont parlé de sujets tellement intéressants que je ne peux pas vous laisser partir sans répondre au moins à une question chacun, au moins une question ou faire une autre intervention ou dire quelque chose sur l'importance de l'esprit de l'homme, de l'esprit, que ce soit au collège, que ce soit à l'université, que ce soit à l'école, que ce soit chez le médecin. L'importance de l'esprit de l'homme. Est-ce que quelqu'un peut poser une question et puis vous allez répondre chacun à cette question et entrer à l'esprit de l'homme et nous allons nous quitter après avoir entendu vos interventions. Je suis désolée de vous demander de parler encore, mais est-ce qu'une personne peut poser une question? L'assistance, une personne peut se dévouer pour poser une question ou parler ou intervenir, même une intervention sur l'esprit, l'importance de l'esprit des hommes. Oui, monsieur.
Hello， 阿弥陀佛，我们是净雅福音，从各个国家来。那么我们的唯一的一个要求就是跟朱教授还有之后我们一起照张相，好吗？有好多问题。感恩朱教授，我们中华民族的5000年文明，今天在这里深深的感受到，哎呀，太震撼了！阿弥陀佛，我们都是佛弟子，今天可以在这个大厅里面深深的感受到，我们是最幸福，我们是最有福报的。阿弥陀佛。
Merci. Merci. Je vous donne la parole. Nous allons commencer par la gauche, madame. Qu'est-ce que vous avez à dire de l'importance de l'esprit des hommes dans ce que vous faites, dans votre métier, dans votre... oui, à vous. Vous allez prendre la parole l'un après l'autre pour conclure en montrant dans ce que vous faites, dans votre intervention, dans vos relations, qu'est-ce qui est important, l'importance de l'esprit. L'esprit. Qu'est-ce que vous pourrez dire?
Merci. Thank you very much for the question. One of my final words here is that we have the same mission. We have the same goal to make this world in peace. And of course, we cannot begin with other things except from beginning with human being. I have worked in the university. Under university, at Sina Green Virod University, we also have demonstration school. We have students from kindergarten, before kindergarten, until high school. And then other level would be the higher education level, from undergrads to graduate level. And more of that, I think that the peace and mindfulness must be groomed into their DNA, inside their mind and heart, at the beginning of their life. I really love what the professor have talked about human being, the body and the mind. And I think that even when the woman get pregnant, the baby inside can understand that as well. So our mission is to make everyone mindful, think of other people in a peaceful way. I think that is the same goal and mission, and that is the reason why we gather here today. Thank you.
Merci, merci madame. Et vous, monsieur, juste 2 minutes, qu'est-ce que vous avez à dire? Pouvez-vous nous dire quelque chose? Oui, oui, monsieur, nous allons parler comme ça. Je vous donne la parole.
My work as a World Buddhist University, I would like to join me for the world peace through our mind and heart, and we should separate mind and heart. Anyway, thank you very much for
Merci,
letting me come
monsieur.
here.
Merci, madame. Un petit mot, terminé, sur l'importance de l'esprit dans votre école, l'esprit des hommes. 1 minute, un petit mot.
Yes, my staff and I, and of course, in terms of our Venerables, our Pure Land Association, all work together and support each other because we realise about the preciousness of these children that have been given to us to look after for part of the time and to educate for part of the time with the parents. And we see ourselves in partnership for supporting our students to be mindful and understanding of the importance of being a good person. But at the same time, that aspect of a good person, our teachers also model that they are still trying to be, working each day to be better than the day before. So we progressively are working with our children for them to understand about respect, how to understand about how to act properly, and that this education will not end when they finish in high school. It is something that will continue on, and I hope will continue on for the rest of their lives.
Merci. Un petit mot, monsieur, une petite minute. Un petit mot.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Just to conclude, a final word from me is to say a huge respect to all of you. The world will not change unless we all act. And one of the strongest points I've taken away from this conference is the shared humanity and the shared values that we have. First and foremost, that is at the center of everything we do. Everything else flows from there. And if there's one takeaway, it is that united humanity. And I hope and wish you all the very best in all that you do. We are all in this together. Thank you. Merci.
Merci, madame. Une petite minute. 1 minute.
Oui. 我就是想说一句，就是说中国人和中医，他要以中字打头，就是以土的平安中镇定为一个基本的原则，是吧？这也是我们今天在世界上做人做事的一个根本的原则。那么我们怎么修炼我们自己呢？我们除了念佛，这也是一种宇宙的音频跟我们产生共鸣。还有更重要的就是音乐啊，因为古来音乐就是一种药物啊，音乐就是我们疗心的一种药物。所以为什么我这个讲座我一定要把这个小贵请来，就是说我们有自己可以用的，通过呼吸，通过按摩，通过念经，通过听音乐，我们就可以自己把自己修炼好了，去做好人好事。好，谢谢大家。
Merci, merci à tous. Nous avons donc terminé notre panel.